What if Breloom was in Gen 1 OU? It's been a while since I've done a fighting type, hasn't it? And I'm excited for this one, because unlike other fighting types I've done, like let's say Breloom or Zamazenta, Lucario just feels like the most straightforward. You know, pretty fast, has a good fighting move, good for normal types, but also does pretty bad against psychics. So it feels almost like a fighting type for Gen 1. The only difference is being it has a steel type and it has high special attack. Or honestly, considering it has space 70 special, same as Tauros, you can argue it has high special as well. At the very least, that's double to Hitmon chance 35. Rest in peace. But how good would he actually be? There's only one way to find out, and I'm excited for this one. Also, because... should I tell you now? You know what? Screw it, I'll say this now. I'm just gonna make the hot take that Lucario steel typing is actually worse than Lucario being a pure fighting type. But I'll get more into that later. Let's start off by looking at his moves. I decided not to give Overspear. Honestly, I prefer not to give signature moves if I feel like I don't need to. And I feel like this is a perfect example, because in Gen 1, Overspear would be physical, which means that it's only 5 power points higher than High Jump Kick, which Lucario earns. And I would much rather have a Pokemon use High Jump Kick than Overspear. 1, because it's an actual move that existed in Gen 1, and 2, losing 1 HP if you miss is just funny. I gotta know what to tell you. And probably more interesting as well, as it's a little bit weaker at 85. I know it's 100 here, but it got buffed in later gens. But yeah, like 85 base power and 90 versus Overspear's 90 and 99 accuracy. Not very interesting. But other than that, you got agility, which could be good, because Lucario's base 90 speed is good. It's really fast. But Lucario is absolutely terrified of status. It doesn't matter if it's paralysis, sleep, or freeze. If Lucario gets hit by it, it's basically a game over. So agility could be used to fix that. Not to mention, being able to outspeed the psychic types could potentially be useful. But I feel like after the replays I created, I feel like Lucario doesn't really have any good opportunities to use agility. Hell, I could even really find any good opportunities for him to use Sword Stance, which obviously he has. And don't get me wrong, if Lucario can get one off, it's really, really good. But I don't know, like Lucario is just a little too frail, which is sad to say. And some ways he also doesn't need it. Like, it's weird. Like, if it's a Pokemon that he can use High Jump Kick on, he probably doesn't need it. But for everything else, I don't know. I'll explain it more when we look into the replays. He has Counter, but considering Counter only works on normal and fighting moves, it's kind of garbage on Lucario. Has Earthquake, which I do think it probably would use. I'm not sure if it would be its main physical move, because, like, I know what you're thinking, like, he has High Jump Kick, but High Jump Kick is mostly for the normal types. You don't really want to use it against, like, the Psychics or Zapdos. I'm not even sure if you really want to use it against, like, Jolteon. So Earthquake might be its main attacking move. At the very least, I think it's more likely it would use it over Hyper Beam, which obviously he does get Hyper Beam. Outside of that, he also has a lot of, like, decent special moves. He has Ice Punch, Psychic, and Thunder Punch. So both beam coverage, and you have the best special move in the game. He also has Rock Slide. If you want a way to be able to hit Ice types, or more importantly, be able to hit Zapdos while using like a full-on Sword Stance set, I think a full Sword Stance would probably be Rock Slide, and then Earthquake. I don't know why I can't press the E button. Which this set here could be good if you can get a Sword Stance off, but it's a lot easier said than done. Also, I'm not even sure how much Sword Stance boosted high jump kick even does against Rhydon. If it does a lot, maybe you can win. But having a like a special set also isn't that bad, because you can just replace this with Bolt Beam. Maybe you still have Psychic as well. Like, I actually can't think about what Psychic could be used for. So maybe you replace it with Agility because you're just scared of being paralyzed. So then you just have good coverage all around. You can hit pretty much almost everything for like pretty good damage, and then you can potentially outspeed as well. So Lucario could be a good weight gain cleaner, and that's probably the best way he would be used. He'd probably be a weight gain cleaner and a revenge killer. So whether using Agility, Sword Stance, and like something like Hyper Beam instead, there's options. There's definitely options, which is nice. But also, that's another main flaw with Lucario, is that he suffers from 4 move swap syndrome. He so badly wants to be able to be the answer against the normal types, but at the same time, he also wants to, you know, like have like be a really good mixed attacker. But then, no matter what set you use, you're always struggling from something. If it's not status killing him, it's like Psychic types. If it's not that, it's like Rhydon or Tauros' Earthquake, or Reflect Snorlax's Earthquake, like screws you over. It's just, there's just so much Lucario can promise, but unfortunately, he just can't do it all at once. So whatever set you're using, there's always going to be a big weakness to it. And even with the best set possible, Lucario's frailty can still be an issue. However, this is Gen 1. There are plenty of other Pokemon that wish they had as much stuff to do as Lucario can. Also, I said I'll explain it later, and I'll just, you'll see with this first replay. But I honestly believe that Lucario's Steel typing does not do him any favors. Because you see here, like, you take super effective damage from Earthquake, and Lucario doesn't actually benefit that much from, what's it called? The normal resistance, ironically enough. Which is sad, but like, it makes sense in the grand scheme of things. Because you threaten the normal type so much offensively, it's not like any of them really want to stay in on you. And it's not like Body Slam is like the, I don't know why I'm brain farting here. Basically, the point is like having a ground weakness is really, really bad. Like as you saw right here. Like, granted, like Lucario did get Water Monkey, missing a high jump kick. And also granted, a critical high jump kick, which is Oko Snorlax. But still, like, I don't think if Lucario didn't resist Body Slam, I don't think Snorlax suddenly has a great matchup. But I do think that because of being weak to ground, Reflect Snorlax has a way of actually, you know, seriously threatening Lucario, making it where it's a match I can go either way. Granted, I think other sets Lucario is significantly better against, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Lucario's introduction into the format at all just, you know, makes Earthquake like one of the most popular moves on Snorlax. But I might be going too far there. Now, this is one case where, like, yeah, a fighting type that's good in Gen 1 might be a little overpowered. Or maybe overpowered isn't the right word, but holy crap, being able to beat Chansey that easily? Lucario might struggle with the Psychics, as you'll soon see. But man, I think the Psychics would definitely enjoy having him around. I would still argue Chansey would be the top, like, 3. However, here's another reason why I don't think the Steel type really helps Lucario. Because yes, you survive. You can like survive like 2 hits from Alakazam. But it doesn't really matter. Because if it isn't Thunder Wave killing you from like Starmie or Alakazam, they're just gonna like crit you with Psychic. And even if they don't have that, you don't like immediately threaten them without Sword Stance. So yes, you're not getting O-Code. But at the same time, you're not like a threat to them in the first place. So what benefits does Lucario Steel typing actually give it? It doesn't really give it anything. So, like, you can let me know what you think in the comments. But I feel like Lucario would gladly trade a ground weakness for a psychic weakness. Which you're free to disagree with, but... eh. Also, High Jump Kick and Thunder Punch do it like around the same amount. So I guess that means you don't really need to use Thunder Punch, and you probably shouldn't consider it for your move slot. Because outside of Cloyster, like I guess you have Starmie, and like you can fish for crits against Swellbro. But it's probably not the best thing in the world. And this was a fun exchange where they both missed their moves. And also, yeah, as you see here, Lucario, like, even with Hyper Beam and a super effective Ice Punch, like, that's how much it did to an Executor that was getting extremely unlucky. So for the most part, Executor doesn't really have to worry about going against Lucario. Which, yeah, like, a good job having your Steel typing. And then Gengar, I'm honestly not sure if Gengar stays in or not. I feel like putting the Lucario to sleep is pretty valuable, but at the same time, I don't know if you want to risk it. Granted, I think Gengar's offensive moves, so like Psychic, Thunderbolt, and Nightshade, could probably really mess Lucario up if it does get put to sleep, but I do not know. I honestly don't know where to put it. I don't know how much Lucario's Psychic does either, but I'm curious. And here with Jolteon, I feel like this match could go either way. Like, Jolteon can obviously crit, but also I feel like even if Jolteon loses, if you're paralyzing the Lucario, it's basically dead anyways. I feel like Agility just won't actually be used that much on it, which means stuff like this happens. And yeah, like even Jinx outspeeds Lucario. Putting to sleep is basically a death sentence, so then you just can either 3-hit KO or you can crit. And considering these guys are faster and they can status Lucario, they have plenty of times to fish for a crit. So yeah, like, it's sad. And I also honestly didn't think Ice Punch would be a clean 2-hit KO. So I guess this contest could go either way. Lucario could crit, and I'm also assuming that's probably a damage range with Earthquake. I would argue it's probably in Rhydon's favor though. But I'm still gonna put it in could go either way instead of bad matchup, just be nice. And then with Swellbro, I guess this is an argument for Thunder Punch. But to be honest, here you're just fishing for crits. That's like the only thing you could possibly do. Maybe you can try going for like a Sword Stance Hyper Beam or like another physical move instead. But it's not worth it. It's just a bad, maybe even unwinnable matchup with Swellbro. And then against Starmie. This is probably the best matchup he has against any of the Psychics. But it's not really good. Like, Thunder Punch does more than I would have expected. But Starmie has Recover. And it just paralyzes you. It's faster. So there's not really what Lucario can do other than just hoping to get a crit. But to be honest, you wouldn't even have this matchup in the first place. You would just switch out. And I maybe could put this in could go either way. However, I'm thinking it's more so a bad matchup if I'm being honest here. And then with Zapdos, I'm not sure if Zapdos actually bothers to paralyze Lucario or not. Probably not. Or no, they have a speed type, don't they? So maybe Zapdos has to. Oh, never mind. But the point is, without having to paralyze it, Zapdos can probably kill with Thunderbolt. Or it can probably just crit and murder. Also, Rocks... Actually, we'll just reset this, actually. And we'll get it again. Rock Slide is... I don't think you would use it unless you're using a full-on, like, Sword Stance set. And if you are doing that, even then, there might be better moves. With Rock Slide, Lucario can put up a fight. But even then, like, this was a scenario where Zapdos went and used, like, you know, Thunder Wave, like, debatably wasting a turn, and didn't get any crits. So this replay right here, it looks alright, but I'm pretty sure it's just a bad matchup for Lucario. But you can disagree with me all you want. However, if you're just gonna look at this in execution, it would probably be a weakened Lucario dealing with a Zapdos who's coming in late game. If that's the case, I think we can probably assume that Zapdos will almost always be the one, you know, in the superior position, especially with how bulky Zapdos is. And also, here's the tier list. Considering I had more traits for the last video with Metagross, I decided to keep him here. Yes, Rock Slide's a thing, but I think we can easily agree that Fire Blast would just completely murder. Maybe this goes in good matchup, or maybe this goes in good, and this goes in bad. I'm not sure. You guys can let me know what you think. And also, while this tier list does seem a little bad, and while I might have seen a little harsh on Lucario, I do think he still would be good at the end of the day. Because yes, there are fighting types that have some sort of a niche. You have like Low Kick with Champ on teams where you're paralyzing everything. And then like Hitmonlee just has a niche just by default for having for being the only Pokemon with High Jump Kick. But you saw how much like High Jump Kick did to Chansey. It just a single attack just almost completely annihilates Chansey's HP. That alone would give it a much better reason to use it over like maybe even more than like Slowbro, assuming it isn't OU. But I think it would be OU. Debatably the worst one in OU, or maybe I'm being a little too harsh. I don't know actually, because like as you guys saw in the video, Lucario has a lot of potential and a lot of different moves it can use. Honestly, I think I'm just too dumb. I feel like if one of you were to use it, and once I start the Generation Jumble in my series, I do think Lucario is like the first Pokemon so far that's guaranteed to be part of the first season. And maybe one of you guys can break it, but who knows? I'd like to know what you think though. Would Lucario be great in Gen 1 OU? Would he be kind of mid in execution? Do you think I was too hard on him? Or do you think I wasn't hard enough? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is Groundback. Don't forget to join my Discord server, and I look forward to hearing from you.